Hi, I'm Phil, and today I'm going to create a computer game called Pick Up the Plastic. And the purpose of this game is to learn the environment of the Microsoft Makecode Arcade. And the game that I picked is a fairly simple game, and it was one of the entrants to the game jam that Microsoft hosted last year, the theme being climate crisis. And the social message here is that we should prevent plastics from going into the ocean and threatening marine life. So let's have a look. And the purpose of this is to let people start off with their environmental game, and particularly their game on rubbish. Okay, so we'll head across to the game area. And here we have it. This is the website for the Makecode Arcade. Right, so we're going to start a new project. I've already had a number of versions of this. And to start off, click New Project, give your project a name, and we're going to call it Plastic 7. Just waiting for the game to come up. And what we have on the left is our simulator. And in the middle, we've got our toolbox where we open one of the drawers and pick from a selection of blocks that we drag across to the right-hand side. So we've already got one container block, and we're going to start populating that. So this is going to be an area that initializes the environment for our game. So the first thing to do is to open the sprites and pick my sprite. And the one we want is the kind of player. And we also need to set the background. So we'll set the scene and we set the background image. And we might actually put that beforehand. And associated with my sprite or the player sprite, we need to go to the controller and just click that under and let it move in either the horizontal or the Y direction with 100 units velocity. And we want to make sure that when we do move it, we keep it on the screen. So we look for one that says stay on the screen, and here's one here that does that. And we're going to set the life of the game to 3. Okay, so notice what's going to happen as we start the game. We've set a few parameters, and the simulator tries to construct whatever it can. So we'll set the life of 3, and we've got 3 hearts that are shown on the top left of the screen. Okay, so that's the first part. Except we'd still need to actually populate the 2 images here. So we might actually set the background. So we click on that, and we get an editor, and we want to turn that into the ocean. So we'll pour water into the ocean, and we'll construct a few waves. So we'll just set these randomly. These are just the waves in our ocean. We're going to call that asset ocean. Okay, so we've got a little icon that shows us that we've completed that. And for the player is going to be a boat. And what we're going to do is build, or we're going to actually design a boat here. It'll have a black outline, and the boat will go across and up. We might just finish off the deck and put a bit of a hut on the boat. And there's a couple of areas that we want to revert that one. But we don't really need these. We'll fill the boat with a green color. So that's our boat sprite is ready. And you can see the icon has been completed here. And again, have a look at the screen when you've done an update, and you can see that the boat is there. And if we use these controls on the simulator and eventually on the gamepad, you'll notice two things. One is it doesn't go off the screen, and both the vertical and the horizontal are working. Okay, so that completes the on-start container. Okay, so we go on to the next stage, and that is to update the game every 500 milliseconds. So in other programs, this would be equivalent to the forever loop, whereas the on-start, the sequence of instructions only happens once. So to get that, we'll look at the colors, and we're interested in the game update. Now, this is going to go through a sequence of steps and will update every half a second. But on the subsequent updates, we want them to be different. So we'll introduce a little bit of random processes here. And we start that off with making a variable called choice. So the random process is going to generate a number, and that number is going to be choice. So we're going to let choice be equal between a random number between 1 and 4. And we need a little bit of maths to do that. So we look for random numbers, and here we go. We've got one here. We'll let that click in, and we adjust the parameters on the range. So it'll be a number between 1 and 4. And if that number is 1, we're going to do something different. So we need to do a bit of logic now. And we're going to just let that click under and build up the comparison for our truth statement. Now, if the choice, go to variables, pick choice, and if it's equal to 1, we'll then do the instructions inside that container. And what we're going to do is launch projectiles, which will be sprites, and they will go be injected horizontally from the left and the right onto the screen at random heights also. So what we need to do is go to sprites, and we're going to look for a projectile that can be launched from the side. So it actually does two things. Here, this is the one we want. We've got 3 projectiles to consider. We've got we're going to use 2 fish, one from the left, one from the right, and we've got the plastic bottles as our third projectile. Now, what we're going to do is inject that from the right. So we change the velocity to -50. We don't want to have any velocity in the vertical direction, so it'll move horizontal. And we're going to set its vertical position will be set randomly on the screen. So what we need to do is go back to the draw of sprites and bring out the property of its vertical position, which is Y. We add a bit of maths, and we're going to pick a random number, and it will go from 0 to the height of the screen. So we can get that height. If we don't remember it, it should be 160. But we can get the height, just bring it across. And we let that just click into that statement. Now, the next thing we need to do is associate this projectile with fish, because it's going to be a fish item. So what we need to do is go to sprites and look for a way of associating it with a label. Okay, so set it kind. Here, this one should be the closest one, and it's going to be projectile. And it's not going to be a player. It's none of those at all. It's going to be fish. So we've created a new category, and this projectile is going to be fish. So this is what's going to happen for these projectiles or fish, which are injected from the right. Now we might actually repeat that. We'll do it again. So if the choice is 2 this time, now we need to be a bit careful. This one doesn't create an instant, a new instance. It actually duplicates it. So we need to delete that and start again with that one. So what we're going to do is set the sprite, so we can find it's going to come in from the side. There we go. So it'll be like the last one. We'll keep it at 50 and 0. It's going to come in from the other side. And we'll do the same with height. It'll be a random position for its height, and it'll also be set at fish. So just make sure that we haven't got any errors. And what we're going to do now is repeat that for the last sprite. We'll get that one again. So if it's fish, it'll be one of the first 2, and the third one will be for I'll just get rid of this one. And we'll duplicate that. So all of these are going to be projectiles. Just make sure that we've got the right label for them. Notice we're getting error messages down here. And hopefully when we correct everything, we'll get the simulator coming back on. So it looks like it's come back on now. Now that last one is not going to be fish. The first 2 are fish. So we need to create another category or kind. And this is going to be plastic. Okay, so we've almost completed this. The only thing is that we need to fill in the images. So we've got 3 blank images, and what we're going to do is create fish. So we just go back to the internal editor And you'll notice that the resolution is different for sprites. It's only a 16 by 16. And we want to create a very simple fish here. So we'll create a fish. We need to make it black. We'll give it a bit of a tail. And we'll make it, say, a pink fish and fill in the fish. We might give it some flippers. So we'll just pick black again. Black is our color. And we'll go from here and give it so there's our first fish. So that one's done. We'll give it a name and call it fish 1. Okay, so you can see there's a small icon there for our fish. We do something similar for the other one. We might actually go to My Assets and see what we've got. So if you go to My Assets, you can see that we've got two sprites already. We're going to add a third one. So we'll go to, and this fish will start off again with an outline. The fish will be we'll create a tail for this fish. And we'll give it, we'll fill it in. Now, this time we might make it a purple fish. And we'll also give it some flippers. And this time we'll make our flippers black. And that will be our fish number 2. So you can see we've populated the first 2. We just need to create a bottle now. And the bottle outline will be black. We might fill it with orange. So there's our bottle. Not quite symmetrical, so we might just brush up on that. We'll pick that one. Bring it back on again. And rather than filling it up, what we need to do is use the pencil and just make a bit of an edit. There we are, a bit more symmetrical now. And we'll call that bottle or plastic. So we've got all of our 3 icons finished at this stage. And with a bit of luck, our game area should update. So if you look at it now, you can see that we're getting fish coming from the left and the right. They're different type of fish, and we can move up and down and across. So our boat can move. Everything seems to be okay at this stage. And we can then go on to seeing what happens when we collide, when the player sprite collides with one of the other sprites. Okay, so we need to look at what happens when the sprites overlap or are captured by the player. And the way we do that, we go to the sprites drawer and look for a overlap area. So these are labeled, there's life cycle, image. So we need to look for, there's an overlap, and we need to drag two of these across. So we'll get that one and we'll get another one. So we're looking for overlap. And the overlap is with the player. The player, if it does the right thing, is picking up plastic. So the first thing is that the player needs to interact with plastic. And if that happens, we can then increase the score by 1. Change the score by 1. And we need to destroy the plastic, because that's what we're aiming to do. So we'll go to the sprites drawer, and one of the things you can do is destroy that sprite. And the sprite that we want to, we have to copy this one and put it under. So we're going to destroy, we'll also delete that block, and we'll give it a particle system effect. So we'll give it a halo. This is a good thing to do. We'll leave it at that, except we'll provide a bit of music as a reward to the player. Now we need it to interact between the player and the fish. So this is something not to do. So we don't give a reward, we do the opposite here. We give a penalty. So our penalty is that we reduce the lifetime of the game by 1. And it will introduce an additional effect, which is shaking the camera. And see if we can find that. The shaking the camera should be under scene. So we're shaking the camera, and what we're going to do is destroy that. Similar to the previous one, we'll go back to sprites, and we're looking for a destroy sprite. And we need to copy, this is an important one, we need to copy that under and delete the one that it came with. Now this time, instead of spray and halos, we might actually look for bubbles. And we'll play some music this time, not the same, we'll look for something different. So we'll bring the music across and look for, say, a crash. Okay, so that should conclude our game. And you can see it's now interacting. To start off, we press button A, and you can see the game's over. And if I wanted to start a new game, I should press button A, and you can see the bottles are coming in, the fish is coming in. And I'm going to try and capture some of these. Try and see if I can get some bottles. You can see the light of the game's going, so that part's going down. So I didn't get any bottles on that occasion. Start again, look for some bottles this time. Plenty of bottles coming in, but I'm not getting any. There we go. We're getting the right noise for picking up the plastic. Okay, so that's the game, and you can use this as an exercise in learning how to construct your own game. So just use this as a model for learning, and I'd be interested to see what your own game looks like. Okay, so that's it for the time being.